It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wise discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
Waking Up with Wesley is sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.
Good morning, Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm senior meteorologist Wesley Williams, and we are going to take a look at the fireworks forecast as we gear up for the big day, Independence Day Friday, coming in tomorrow. You know, there's already some places that might be doing some fireworks tonight, the day before Independence Day. We'll call it today, Thursday, July 3rd, Independence Day Eve, and there might be some fireworks for that. We're going to take a look at if the skies are going to be clear, if the rain is going to be here or maybe near, and we'll also take a peek at some of the temperatures that might get a little bit hotter for some of your grilling plans on Friday. If you're going to be out and about, maybe the burgers might not be the only thing grilling. We might be grilling a little bit too under that hot summer sun with the temperatures cranking on up. So let's get to the forecast for tonight's fireworks for Thursday night, July 3rd. And you'll notice that it's looking pretty good. We're not really expecting much of a chance for rain. That sunset not until right about 8 p.m. So, you know, this is that time of year when you get those late sunsets. But once that sun goes down, it looks like still some pretty nice weather in the local area. Temperatures for some of our areas north of I-10 looking at 87 by 7 p.m. and then falling to the lower 80s by 9 p.m. Some of the coastal areas, pretty similar conditions, and it looks like the sky will be partly cloudy. So it might not be crystal clear. There might be a few clouds out there, but overall, looks like there's not really a high chance for rain during Thursday evening in South Mississippi. Now, we'll take a look at the forecast for actual Independence Day tomorrow night, Friday night, and I think that there might actually be one or two spotty showers or storms based on the futurecast, which we're going to show you in just a moment. But the forecast for tomorrow night looks like pretty similar temperatures. Right before the sun goes down, it'll be almost 90, so still pretty hot. And then about an hour after the sun goes down, we'll see those temperatures falling to the lower 80s. And like I said, partly cloudy, maybe a slight chance of some of those showers and storms. We'll take a look at the futurecast to get more information on that right now. So here's a look at the futurecast map for South Mississippi, and this is today, Thursday. The chance for rain on Thursday is only 10 to 30%. It's one of the lowest chances we've seen so far this week. So that's actually really good. Now we are finally getting to the second half of this week, and the pattern is trending drier just in time for our holiday plans. So this gets us through Thursday afternoon. This afternoon, where do we find rain on this map? Do we find rain over our 6 southernmost counties? Not so much. But do we find rain instead just off to our west over portions of Louisiana? And yeah, that's where the modeling is indicating today's rain showers are going to be. Storm motion today could be from north to south, if not from northwest to southeast. So a lot of those showers and storms that might be over Louisiana will be on kind of a downward track. And maybe some of those clip into portions of our viewing area, primarily to the west of Highway 49, which includes Pearl River and Hancock counties. So that's why the rain forecast for Thursday is actually looking like this, in which we'll see those higher chances, about 30%, in places like Poplarville, Picayune, Diamond Head, Waveland, and maybe in parts of Gulfport, Biloxi as well. But you go farther off to the north and east of that, and the chance for rain a little bit lower, Saucier and Wiggins 20%, and then even lower to the east of that, Lucedale, Van Cleve, and Pascagoula, Gaucher, Moss Point, rain chance only around 10%. So looks like the closer you are to Alabama, the higher the rain chance, and generally the closer you are to Louisiana, you're starting to see that increase in the rain chance. Now, for the sunset time frame, if we continue this futurecast from where we left off on Thursday afternoon, let's get deeper into the afternoon and the evening hours. And you'll notice by sunset, a lot of that rain that used to be over Louisiana has kind of fallen apart. And we don't really find during that sunset time frame a whole bunch of rain locally. So this is much better than it was a few days ago. I mean, it was just the day before yesterday that Gulfport, Biloxi was wiped off the map by a gigantic thunderstorm. If you remember that, just 2 days ago, there were hurricane-force wind gusts on Tuesday evening in Gulfport, reported from the airport. There was flooding, rain, Highway 90 was closed, and it looks like none of that sort of stuff is expected for Thursday evening. So great news, looking really good for fireworks for Thursday evening, no matter where you are in South Mississippi. Just a friendly reminder that the rain chance is not zero, so there might be, even though the model doesn't show it, there might be 1 or 2 stray showers or storms, but we're not expecting the type of intensity nor the type of coverage that we had earlier this week. All right, so here's a holiday for your Independence Day Friday. We showed you the fireworks forecast earlier for the temperatures, but what about the rain map? What are we looking at? What are we looking at here? Well, again, we are still looking at that wind coming in from the north. So storm motion, if there's any storms firing up, they're not going to come in from the Gulf. They'll fire up near us or north of us, and maybe they try to come in from the north. By the way, Friday, really great day for spending time outside with family and friends, rain-wise. You're not going to have rain getting in the way of your plans. It is going to be sizzling hot. You do want to make sure you're practicing common sense, heat safety precautions. Stay hydrated, y'all. Take breaks in the shade, y'all. Just don't overdo it. We don't want to see anyone's festivities get ruined by, succumbing to dangerously hot conditions. And I think we're probably going to see a heat advisory issued for the area on Friday. We'll see. There has not been one yet issued for Friday so far, but the National Weather Service still has about 24 hours before they might make that decision to pull that trigger on a heat advisory. Even though we're not really expecting to hit heat advisory criteria, sometimes they're just extra generous with those alerts on a holiday because they know that more people are going to be outside exposed to the elements. And that makes you more likely to succumb to a heat-related illness. Rain-wise, though, I want you to pay attention here because even though we are seeing so many rain-free hours for much of Friday, maybe there's this time frame in the evening, sometime around between 4, 5, 6, and 7 p.m. when maybe you might be grilling outside or maybe swimming in a pool outside. And we're noticing that this is that time frame. I'm going to walk this really slowly through that time frame. Look, a few little pop-ups in a few spots, right? We can see them. So don't be surprised if you can see these little pop-ups right here, maybe somewhere near Waveland, Bay St. Louis, Diamond Head, Pasco Strand, Long Beach, Gulfport. Might not necessarily be exactly where the model's saying. The model could be wrong by 10, 20 miles, and it might be east of that, closer to Biloxi, or it might be west of that, closer to New Orleans. But the general idea here is that it's not going to be completely rain-free everywhere around fireworks time Friday evening. That's the takeaway. Someone, somewhere might have a couple of raindrops. I'm hoping that the coverage is as limited as what this is showing. It should be, because we have generally high pressure ridging, which is helping to limit rain coverage. But it's summer on the Gulf Coast, and it's really hard to completely put a lid on rain chances unless you have a high pressure sitting directly on top of you. And since this one won't be, this one will be just to the west of us, it is possible for some storms to fire up on the outer edges of that, and they would roll our way from the north if they did. So just keep that in mind for fireworks Friday evening. Don't be surprised if there's some rain, but I'm hoping that the coverage is limited. Now, I will say, a lot of times when we have a really hot day, think back to Tuesday, the day with the huge storm in Gulfport, Biloxi. You remember how long the whole day went with no rain at all. But then once that storm popped up, it was so hot that that heat fed into that storm and it got to get a little strong. Well, that same thing, I'm not expecting it to happen, and I'm hoping it does not happen, but I think it is a possibility because there's going to be so many rain-free hours on Friday that there's going to be just all of this uninterrupted heating throughout the whole day. And if we can get a thunderstorm to pop somewhere, it's going to be able to gobble up a lot of heat energy, folks. And I would not be surprised if in at least an isolated spot, if a thunderstorm happens, it could put out a good little downpour. So even though the coverage might be limited, the intensity might not be that limited wherever you have that isolated storm. because it's so hot, and a lot of times on a really hot day, if you have a thunderstorm pop up, that thunderstorm might not be so wimpy. It might be a little beefy. Now, we take a look at the rest of the forecast, futurecast. Once you go to the overnight hours, you lose that daytime heating. Most of the rain falls apart. Saturday, this is actually a day that we see an increase in rain. There's actually a subtle little feature. It shows up on this computer model as this little band of clouds. And look at the storm motion. Look at the wind arrows and the wind particles. Which way are they pointing? They are pointing from the northeast to the southwest. So we're going to watch that little section of clouds and watch how the computer modeling kind of bubbles that section up once it gets into South Mississippi. You see that at times on Saturday afternoon, that little section of clouds may begin to develop into some spotty showers and storms. So I do expect an increase in rain activity locally from Friday to Saturday. Right now, our Saturday rain chances are hovering in that 30 to 40% range. Friday rain chances hovering in the 10 to 20% range. So just know, don't be surprised to see some more pop-up storms on Saturday, possibly moving in from the north and east. And you saw, if I rewind this, I mean, some of those have red colors on them. Like, look at that red color on that one in parts of Hancock and Harrison counties at some point on Saturday afternoon. So I know it's a big holiday weekend. I know a lot of people don't want it to rain on their holiday weekend plans, don't want a thunderstorm to show up, but I'm just giving you that heads up that we are expecting the rain chance to increase from Friday to Saturday. Now, it might not be a huge increase, but it is an increase. There can be thunderstorms. If you're swimming in a pool on Saturday, you know, keep an eye to the sky, keep an ear open for any rumbles of thunder. If you hear those, of course, we know when thunder roars, head indoors. So something to keep in mind for your Saturday PM plans, that slight uptick in the rain potential for the local area. If you were watching GMM, you might have noticed that we also mentioned the tropics are looking better for the Gulf because there's no longer the potential for tropical activity in the Gulf. So you might already have known that if you watch GMM. If you're just now waking up with Wesley, this is the futurecast that will show that that area no longer in the Gulf. It's over east of Florida. And as you see, maybe at some point around Friday, if not Saturday, maybe a circulation tries to form just off the coast of Florida. So you can see Saturday's rain map shows Mississippi not completely dry. We're not completely dry on Saturday. We showed you the little spotty storms that might pop up, but generally the rain amounts should be lower. Maybe all of us come up with a rain amount of lower than 1 inch, maybe even lower than a ½ inch on Saturday. Meanwhile, you've got a lot more rain off to the east where that tropical depression or storm might be trying to develop offshore of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. And the good news for Mississippi is we stay on the western side of that, which is the drier side. This continues Sunday and next Monday. That possible tropical system just meandering near the east coast, and Mississippi way removed from that off to the west. We are seeing drier weather generally compared to what they will be seeing offshore of the Carolinas. So, you know, some people might be planning holiday weekend travel to the East Coast, and you do want to understand that there might be a tropical depression or storm offshore. If you have travel plans on the East Coast of Florida, Georgia's coast, South Carolina's coast, North Carolina's coast, keep that in mind that there might be rain impacts. And if this becomes a storm, there could be wind and some surf or surge impacts as well for those coastal areas of the East Coast heading into the holiday weekend and early next week. So that's pretty much our update today. Hopefully you have fun at the fireworks that are going to be on tap for tonight as well as for Friday night. We mentioned Saturday. I do want to, before we go, talk about Saturday night. I guess we didn't take a look at Saturday night. We took a look at Saturday when the storms pop up. But Saturday night, even though they're popping up during the afternoon and evening, look at this, they actually kind of fall apart for Saturday evening and Saturday night in case people are also doing fireworks for the night after Independence Day night. There still looks to be pretty good conditions sky-wise. Looks like you're mostly clear there. So this is, you know, not too shabby. We could have much worse July 4th weather, let's put it that way. We could have, you know, tropical systems, we could have severe weather, We could have, all kinds of stuff. But this time around doesn't look like that for us, as your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, generally on those lower rain chances. We might see the rain chances kind of perk back up sometime next week, which is more typical of this time of year for us anyway. All right, so now that I remembered to get that Saturday night in, we'll wrap up this edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. I hope that you have a pretty nice Thursday. We'll catch you again next time. Until then, take care.
Waking Up with Wesley has been sponsored by Exclusive Auto Brokers. For the best deals on wheels, visit Exclusive Auto Brokers on Beatline Road in Long Beach.